Our reports are like simpler to understand. I think our app is one of the very good apps in the market at the moment. The way it's laid out, I've seen some reports, it's very hard to understand. It's a Word document with some pictures. And when I see some vendor reports, they give it to us like, oh, here's a vendor report. And if you see like on my Google comments as well, people have mentioned that we were able to find more defects than what they had on the vendor report.
So Adam, thank you for joining us today on the Gyms Group podcast. You've got a great Gyms Building Inspections logo and shirt on in your background. So everyone knows which division you're from the start, and you've been with us since, when you've been just October last year, so not overly too long, you're just under a year still. But yeah, what were you doing prior to Gyms Building Inspections, Adam?
Prior to building inspections, I was into the regulatory compliance role. And on my qualification, I'm a qualified building surveyor.
And what prompted the change for you?
I always wanted to make that change because what I feel is like, and I'm talking like in general, like a lot of us feel that there's a lot more to offer in do.
Yeah.
And, but certain jobs won't let you have the like business acumen, and then you want to go and explore. And most of the time it's the risk factor. So because, like most of the businesses, they don't survive. And I was just doing my research, like how to go about it. And from being regulatory compliant to I wanted to actually help people. So that's another motivating factor for me. And it's great because in building inspections now, all my comments and my clients, they tell me, hey, thanks, Adam. I saved 10 grand on this. One of my clients the other day said, yeah, I saved about like 30 grand on this building on the negotiations. That's very motivating. You know what I mean? From previously like issuing infringements and telling people what to do, I've changed completely to help them out and make that informed decision. So I feel like that's an achievement for myself.
No, well, you get a perfect 5-star rating, and I've read some of your comments before coming on, and you do a great job. And I was going to say as well, when you said that about being someone to be able to save 30 grand off their home, do you want to just maybe educate people who are a bit unaware about the purpose of a building inspection and what that actually means you can do when negotiating with the property?
See, most of the times the people are, like, for example, let's say I had a client who saved about like 8 grand on a unit because it's an old unit, and there's a misconception out there that, okay, if you're buying a unit, you don't need a building inspection, just do the strata report. So the strata normally covers the common areas, but the building inspection is actually look at the building elements within the unit. And there was like some suspected asbestos, some major defects in the bathroom. The moisture was seeping out like on the other side of the wall. So these are the things will not show up in your strata report. And the building I was talking about is like, it was about 40-year-old house, newly rendered, so it looks pretty from outside. But when you go inside and you have a look, like there's a major defect in the bathroom where it's like the shower leak, the moisture behind the tiles that was permeating on the other side. Get into the roof cavity and you see, like, because he added an extension, so the builder just decided to cut one of the rafters and it was discontinued and it was just hanging with no support. So it was like this. So with no support in between. We also go under the house. So the old methodology was like the piers. So now most of the new builds are like slab on ground, but the old houses, they will like sit on piers. So we go under the house to see. So they were like mold, piers were leaning. There's a inadequate drainage, not enough ventilation. So the builder decided to render and close all the ventilations from all the sides. So whenever it rains, the water is coming into the front, but it has nowhere to live, and the air is just circulating within. Those are like few issues. Those are like things that we highlight in our report. Most of my clients, like I feel like client is the king. They hire us to give them that information that they make that informed decision. So the whole idea, from the day one, what I've been like talking to Sam and coming on to the training and I still hold on to it in every report of mine is what it is, where it is, why it's a problem, what you can do to fix it. So if you stick to this formula and it's been working pretty good, and I think that's what my clients like.
Is there becoming a bit more of an increased demand around building inspections? It seems to be on a bit more in the news now, and there's a lot of different TV stations where it's a tough game, the building game, obviously now with what's going on. People are cutting corners and stuff like that. So, and you find there's a bit of an increased demand for your services just because it's becoming more of a general awareness around
absolutely. And I feel like the leads that we get, they're like quality leads. That's one of the best things, you know what I mean? And I feel like the brand name, so the work is already done. Like, in a nutshell, if I can say, it's a turnkey business, but you have to put an effort. You have to go out and do some local area marketing. And if you've got like good work ethic and you stick to it, what you've been trained on, I think you do pretty good. And yeah, I was a bit anxious initially, but the support was there. So you've got the systems in place that are tried and tested. Yes, like every business will have like up and down. For example, January goes slow a bit because that's expected. Everyone's on a holiday and away and whatnot. So you have to manage that highs with lows and everything, but the systems are in place to help you and support.
I was going to say then, with the first month, then what was the items that you were doing? Like you mentioned, like area marketing, was that just joining the BNIs, or how did you do your first month?
So the first month, I enjoyed the BNI in my first month. So the first month was being like stabilizing myself, wrapping my head around what the client expectations were. And initially, because we do building and timber pest, so most of our clients want building and timber pest combined together. And we have a very good system where overburden you with doing everything together in one go. So we liaise with the pest guys who will do the pest side of it. So I was mainly focusing on liaising, managing my calendar, making clients happy with the report and the reviews that are coming in, the surveys that go out. So that was my focus for the first month. And once you're a bit confident, so as you keep doing things, you get better at it. And then you have that time to do the BNI. So what I've done is like I've gone, did some local area marketing where I've introduced myself to some conveyancers, some solicitors, and then got my ticket to do the pest inspections as well simultaneously. Then I've joined the BNI. So the BNIs are pretty good, but I would say BNI is for something like if you believe in the philosophy of givers gain. Yeah. And we actually, like as a building inspector, we're already doing it. Because, you get asked when you do the report and we send it to the client asks, hey, Adam, what do you think, how much it's going to cost me for the bathroom upgrade? Or I'm going to fix the software. What's that? How much it's going to be? So what we do, we refer to somebody because we don't want to be coding for someone else's work. So we're doing that already. But if you do it in a BNI, so you have given a referral. And then once you give a referral, then people feel compelled to find something for you. So they will like keep your eyes and ears open and then look for work. And if there's anything that's in your way. So it's just using it to your advantage, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I was going to say as well, owning a business. So you want to own a business for a while and you're doing it. So what's the reality of owning a business been like for you? Have you had more flexibility, or you find yourself working harder now, or?
Honestly, I feel some days I work really hard. They're really long days because clients have like already signed the contracts, cooling off periods, and tomorrow you got to get it done. Some days you get that, but the flexibility is amazing. I spend more time with my kids now. That's amazing. Earlier, my kids used to say, oh, Dad, we never used to see you. Like you're always early in the morning and you come back late and your phone rings and all of that. But now I manage my schedule, my calendar, and that's amazing. That's flexibility. And I feel for the people, if I can say, there are a lot of pressure cooker jobs and you're on a treadmill. So you have a pressure cooker and you're running on a treadmill. So you're not going anywhere. You just same place, you just going around. But in business, you have a good idea where in terms of we can expand. Yep. So you can make sure the business grows as much as you possible, or you just want to stay as the individual contributor. So flexibility, there's a lot of boxes that it ticks.
Yeah, no, it's a great point about people just saying high pressure jobs on the treadmill and their effort, their income's not going up. Whereas if you're in your own business, your effort does directly correlate with more money for yourself.
And the best part is like the gyms, the brand is there. And as I say to my clients, cheap is expensive. So you got to understand that you see our ratings, like as a group and as an individual, you see our ratings and then you see the others' rating. And those ratings are there for a reason.
That's 100% right. You're exactly spot on. I think the brand counts for so much, especially for customers, knowing that if something happens, not only the franchisee, but the gyms group will step in and help out if required, and seen it firsthand with multiple divisions, and it's there needed. So you don't get that protection with a independent business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I feel like in our group that like the camaraderie is amazing. Yeah. Because normally when you see the business, they see you like as a competitor and they won't share you the knowledge or the secret and whatnot. We have this like WhatsApp group where we just stuck somewhere, mate. Hey, mate, what do you think of this? And then somebody would say, hey, this is this, and just refer to this standard or refer to this. And we always help each other out. Like the other day, like with the gyms logo. So this is something that I find it funny, and I joke, me and my son. So I call it like gym salute, because we say gym's pool guy. Like I was at Snowy last week and I saw a gym's pool guy at Genderbine. And I've never seen him before. He has never seen me. And we just waving at each other from, you know what I mean? And here I see like mowers, and they were just driving past and you just wave. You know what I mean? So it's great. You know what I mean? The people are there. And if you're struggling, your car broke down, like I know, if you see a gym today, he will stop and help you out. Yeah. I'm assuming nothing has happened so far, touch wood, but yeah.
Well, we don't Jim's Marble mechanics if you need it. We do have Jim's Marble tyres as well if you need. But I was going to say it's a great point what you said because, we actually used to have the Jim's Mowing newsletter used to be called Smile Away for that exact reason what you said. And I think it's quite interesting. People from the outside think there's a lot of competition in gyms because there's so many franchisees and people would be competitive with each other. But it's generally not the case. It's the other way around. Everyone's been in the other position and, everyone's in that for the same reason, which is to have a better life and, family time and stuff like that. So they're always looking to help each other succeed. It's a really good culture, I think. And, your franchisors and the franchisees like yourself do a really good job.
No, that's amazing because in our group, like, for example, if I can't do the job, rather than letting it go, we just put it in a group that, hey, mate, can you take care of this? Like, if I'm going on holiday, I ask one of my colleagues to, hey, I'm going on a holiday. Can you take care of my clients? And he will look after them. And then when this, it's a vice versa. Yeah. So, we don't compete against each other. And I think that's a lot to do with, like, how Sam has built a culture within that. Because they're, like, inspectors who've been in the game for 10 years or maybe longer. So that's how the culture is already there. And then when the new guys join in, they just carry on with that.
Yeah, no, it's a really good team philosophy for sure, and the boys have done a really good job building that from the ground up. I've interviewed a few franchises. I don't know, is Peter Castellan in your region or is he in other regions?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's the first one in New South Wales, and it all starts with blokes like him, and they've been around for years and good knowledge as well. Good reputation, I think, is the other thing for you guys because you need everyone else doing good work, so you get to keep the good reputation up in the area.
True. No, absolutely. No, that helps. That helps big time.
And from your perspective, like, how many reports are you doing roughly a week, or how many jobs are you doing?
On an average, I'm ranging anywhere between 8 to 10 a week. And I think that's healthy. And some days I have done 4 as well, like summertime when we call it a silly season. So I've done up to 4. But again, the day is a bit longer. So we can allow that time to go and do the inspection because the sun is still out. But on an average, I would say anywhere between 8 to 10. And I think that's a healthy average.
And do you want to tell people what goes into the report? So obviously you have the app and stuff like that, but do you want to just outline the actual details or what goes into the report to separate JBI from maybe some other independent operators?
Oh, I think like our reports are like lots simpler to understand in how the report flows. I think our app is one of the very good apps in the market at the moment. The way it's laid out. So I've seen some reports, it's very hard to understand. It's a Word document with some pictures and when I see some vendor reports, they give it to us like, oh, here's a vendor report. And if you see like on my Google comments as well, people have mentioned that we were able to find more defects than what they had on the vendor report. It's very hard to read and understand. So the way our reports are laid out is like we prioritize the safety first, then we go the major defects and minor defects. And same thing goes with the timber pest where we have like a live timber activity, previous damage and whatnot. So how the report is laid out and then a brief explanation and then we give them the pictures with the arrows. And the best part is we can write on the pictures. So the app gives us that ability to write on the pictures. So that's what I normally do because if I'm taking a photo, for example, for a bathroom where I find I'm checking for the moisture on both sides, customer wouldn't know, the client wouldn't know what I'm looking at. So when I do that, I take a photo of the tiles that I'm doing. I go to the other side and I take a wide angle photo and I put an arrow and say rear side of the shower area. So the client will know, okay, we haven't bought the house yet. He's just looked at it once or twice maybe. So he don't know what I'm looking at. So I'm going to put an arrow and write on the picture that, okay, this is what I'm looking at and this is your comparative reading. And this is what the moisture is or if there's no moisture. So the ability that app gives us is amazing.
So that's really good information because I know the reports are very detailed because I've seen the app with Paul and Sam before. I've seen what you guys do and it's a very detailed report. I was going to say as well, what are the things that are coming up more and more in your reports that people should maybe be aware of for? What are some common issues that are arising?
The clients, and I tell them that it's a very expensive exercise, is the excessive moisture issue because upgrading bathrooms. So we, as I say, we especially focus on those wet areas like bathrooms, toilets, kitchens, laundries. Those are very expensive to upgrade, especially also with any structural issues that we focus on. So those are the things. And we make sure we highlight in our report and put emphasis on that. And the best thing is what I've been doing is when I send the report, as I say, it's always under promise, over deliver. So we have a 24-hour turnaround time, but 95% of the times I send the report the same day. So that has been a good thing with the clients. They're really happy with that. And then I follow up with a phone call. So I send them a text or arrange a time suitable for them. and then we arrange a phone call, and then we go through it step by step. But the most things that the client should be looking at is the moisture, any timber pairs, structural issues. And most of the times, if you see these days, they do like a new paint or the way they stage the house. It's very hard for a person who has no experience to pick those defects.
I was going to say that because it seems like just obviously with the building game being very tough at the moment, a lot of corners being cut, I would say, based on what everyone's seeing online. It seems like it's going to be next 10, 20 years even, you're going to be still a lot of issues with building just from all the builds that are getting done now. And when people, looking to purchase a property, I just think that just for a very long time, because of what's been happening with the building game, it's going to be a lot of work for you guys in the future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And as long as we've got the issues in the building industry, they still need, and see, they have to understand as we say, the builder doesn't set out to build a bad house. So he normally goes out to make a good house, but he's dependent on the site supervisors, and the site supervisors are like schedulers these days, and the tradies, and he's there and trying to do the other job, or maybe making a more cost-effective way of doing things and whatnot. And they cut corners. Yeah, so ultimately, it's the client who pays the price.
Exactly right. And you mentioned some examples of a couple of happy customers. What else was there any other examples you can provide about where your report has saved a lot of money or even maybe stopped a really bad purchase?
I've done the Strata report recently. This gentleman, he works in emergency services. So he's usually in an ICU, and he can't answer the phone and whatnot. So we're just communicating. And this came last minute requests on an urgent base. So I've done a Strata report for him, and then we found out that there's no certificate of currency there. We had to go through the annual general meetings to find out what's happening to certificate of currency. They don't have annual fire safety statements, which is a requirement. They don't have the building, the comment, the building defects report. And there were a lot of documents that were missing, and we prioritized. And he was so happy and ecstatic because this was his first house he was buying. And most of my clients, they are the first home buyers. I explained to them before I take the job, and I explained to them that, hey, have you done this before, or do you want me to explain it? That's normally when I get a lead or I get a referral, I call and I make sure I explain to them that, okay, these are the things that we're going to focus on. These are the things we should be looking at. And we go from there. So I get good feedback, and he just went on my Google page and just wrote on that I'm going to refer you to all my friends and colleagues and whatnot. So that was happy, you know what I mean? And the day, the satisfaction that you get, the job satisfaction is there. And then the philosophy is client is the king. That's what I feel. I try to do my best to accommodate. Sometimes I change my schedule completely to go in because they want to be there. And I encourage them to be there. I always say, if I'm going for building inspection, you want to come along? You're more than welcome to do so. They don't know what I'm doing, but they still want to be there and they see, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they're paying money, so they want to say, well, what's the value, what goes into it? They don't know whether someone's just up there for 10 minutes or something like that. So I think that's be really interesting for them as well. They even help you sell your services more indirectly because they'd be actually seeing the process you go through. Yeah. And you're taking the time to explain to them, and that would even generate a better referral.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I tell them, whenever you're coming, just keep 1 to 2 hours because you never know how long the building is going to take. I've done some buildings where I've spent more than 2.5 to 3 hours where I had to call and reschedule my next inspection. So the buildings were massive, but there were so many issues. Or I've done a 90-page report the other day, and my client, 90 pages report, and the client was just blown away and said, it took me a while to read, but can you please explain to me? So it took me half hour just to explain to him the defects that I found.
That's a great part of the service, though. That's why people should use Jim's building inspections, because as you just said, the follow-up phone call, they want to come along, all that sort of stuff. I don't know if other people would allow that or even be open to that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I was going to say as well, if anyone thinking about doing what you did, what would you sort of say to them? There's obviously a lot of builders and probably finding it tough, or maybe people doing what you did. What would you sort of say to them in regards to maybe looking at Jim's building inspections in regards to what type of person should they be, or what would you tell them to expect?
Hey, mate, I would say if you're planning and to take a leap of faith, mate. I did that. And to be honest, I have a young family, I have responsibilities, but I wanted to take that. When I spoke to Sam, he put me at ease. And then when I came to Melbourne, I saw how the systems are. But see, I've worked in a corporate environment, so I understand systems. For how long they've been working, you go and do some research. And nobody will send out. So I went out with the franchisee. I went out with Dave and the other guys just to see how they're doing and what they're doing and can I do it? You know what I mean? From compliance to actually changing the game completely to this side, can I do it? And I would say the systems are there, the support is there, it's fantastic. And never happened like when I was new, I was feeling bad, but I was calling Sam on Sundays.
And the answer.
And any answer.
Good.
And that's amazing. Like I was thinking, like, is this guy for real? You know what I mean? I'm just panicking because I sometimes I work like Monday to Saturday, and then initially I was struggling to do like, what should I say? The 24 hours time is running, or what should I say about this? And so if I had like any silly questions and whatnot, because I just want to be like super cautious about the first few weeks. Yep. So I was calling him on Sunday, hey mate, can you do this? Can you help me out with this? And he was great. So I would say like, yeah, cool. What do you see? Go out. That's what I did. I went out, talked to people. We always help out each other. There's like nothing to worry about. You know what I mean? Come and check the systems. Like there's so many success stories we have. Like Peter, he's been doing like 10 years. Diane has been like 10 years. People won't last. Like these days, the business won't last like more than in a year. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like I've been doing this for years, but what I see and what I'm doing and the leads that I get and the quality leads that I get, some people will definitely call you to do some price shopping. That's in every business and they just want to do the price shopping. But I would say in a way, people who go and do price shopping or negotiate too much will have a complaint later on because the expectation would be different. So it's better you don't do that job rather than you feeling bad about it. But if you look at the average, the ongoing expenses, like for example, if I open a hospitality or a restaurant or something, so my expenses would be rent, all the cost overheads and all of that. It's not here. So everything is like you calculate and you budget it for. So you already forecast.
Yeah, you're right. People have a lot of this misconception. They do like a site-based business and think it's going to be, making them a fortune, and they end up, working 16 hours a day, making less than their previous job with more headaches. So, yeah, you're right. The mobile service business, like what you're doing, is definitely a great way to go if you've got the skills to do it. You obviously need the skills to do it, but if you've got them, like you can do what you've done quite easily and transition into a great business.
No, it's working out good, and the support is there. That's the best part. They're like the hold the hand. You know what I mean? Like initial, like the baby steps that you take. Your hand is being held and they will slowly take you there. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, Sam is not based in Sydney. He's there. But again, I never felt that he's not here because whenever I call him, he answers my phone.
That's good to hear. Well, Sam's actually one of our trainers in training here, as you know, doing the training. So he talks about franchisor support. So it's good to hear he's answering his phone on a Sunday and providing good franchisor support.
Yeah. I'm the one who's harassing the most.
No, he had good words to say about you. That's why I put you forward for the interview. He said you're a great fella and you're doing really, really well. So that's why you're on the podcast today.
My missus was even making a joke of me, like, oh, now you got a new work girlfriend now, so you're telling him every time.
He's a good operator, Sam. It's good to hear that you guys have a relationship, which is very important. But Adam, thank you very much for joining us today, Jim's podcast After Hours as well. And obviously, you provide a lot of good details about why people should use JBI and what the detail that goes into the report. So thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to the episode of the Gyms podcast. If you want to learn more about the Gyms Group, head to gyms.net or call us on 131 546 Australia or 0800 454 654 New Zealand. And if you did like the episode as well, please make sure you leave a review or a comment or a thumbs up or a comment on the video as well. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.